Tesla Model Y crowned as China's best-selling premium NEV in May. Tesla Model Y is crowned the best-selling premium NEV in China in May. The car significantly outsold its competitors. Tesla Model 3 finished in third place, only slightly behind BYD Tang DM. Tesla boosts car sales in China as demand rises. Since the price of Tesla vehicles is in the range of RMB 200,000 $28,000 to RMB 300,000 $42,000. They are in the premium segment. Tesla Model Y is especially popular in China, which is confirmed by sales data. In May, Tesla sold 31,054 Model Ys in China. This made the SUV the best-selling NEV in the premium segment. The car has a huge lead over the nearest competitor, which only emphasizes its attractiveness for local consumers in such an expensive segment. In second place, with 11,866 units sold, is BYD Tang DM. A little behind, by a really small margin, is Tesla Model 3 with 11,454 sales. Tesla retail sales in China were 42,508 units in May, according to data released by the China Passenger Car Association (CPCA). Tesla ranked third in the NEV market with a 7.3% share. This reflects an increase of 332.65% compared to May 2022. This is also 6.39% more than in April 2023. Source: reposted and summarized from Eva Fox at Tasmanian. Tesla Model S number 1 in this real-world range test. The Tesla Model S remains the number 1 electric vehicle when it comes to real-world range. At least according to a recent test conducted by Norwegian outlet Motor. The summer range test saw the Model S long range compete against 32 rivals from brands including BMW, Mercedes, and NIO. The Model S managed to go 418 miles before running out of battery, beating its WLTP estimated range by a 6% margin. The conditions were ideal, with dry weather and temperatures ranging between 59 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. Second place went to the rear-wheel drive version of the Polestar 2, which lasted for 382 miles on a single charge. Disappointingly, the Mercedes EQS and Lucid Air were not involved in the test. The EQS 450 is only marginally worse than the long-range Model S in terms of EPA range. Meanwhile, the Lucid Air is the only EV that betters the S entirely. Two Mercedes models that were involved were the EQE 350 and EQS SUV. They recorded ranges of 358 and 359 miles respectively. Notably, the recently launched BMW i7 achieved a range of 369 miles, not bad for a 2.75-ton limo with a 31-inch TV onboard. The Tesla Model Y standard range and Model X Plaid were also featured in the motor. The entry-level Y managed to go for 279 miles without a charge, while the Model X Plaid ran for an impressive 339 miles. Several Chinese EVs are also featured. The best of the bunch was the NIO ET7, which recorded 360 miles of range. The MG5 and Jeep Avenger finished at the bottom of the table. The MG had a real-world range of 236 miles and the Avenger managed 245 miles. To be fair, both are entry-level EVs priced at under $42,980, so those figures are still very respectable. Source: reposted and summarized from Ben O'Hare at Inside EVS. Tesla increased both Chinese retail sales and exports in May 2023. In May, Tesla's sales of made-in-China Model 3 Model Y in China and exports from China. increased quite noticeably compared to the previous year. According to the China Passenger Car Association (CPCA's) data, the overall wholesale vehicle shipments, local retail sales and exports of made-in-China MiC Model 3 Model Y amounted to 77,695 units, up from 32,165 in May 2022, when the plant was recovering from lockdown. Compared to the previous months, the output at the Giga Shanghai plant appears to be very stable this year. During the first 5 months of the year, the total wholesale sales amounted to over 382,000, which is 77% more than a year ago at this point. Retail sales in China. Last month, the company's local sales in China amounted to 42,508 MiC cars compared to 9,825 units a year ago. Tesla MiC retail sales in China are usually the highest in the final month of a quarter. The first half of a quarter is usually focused on export. So far this year, Tesla locally sold nearly 200,000 MiC electric cars in China, which is 84% more than a year ago. It means that after applying price reductions in January, Tesla is able to continue to increase its sales. Export. According to the report, last month, 35,187 Tesla MiC cars were exported, 58% more than a year ago. That's the best export result for the month of May. Tesla usually exports the highest number of cars in the first month of a quarter, and then a substantial number of cars also in the second month of a quarter. So far this year, Tesla exported almost 163,000 MiC cars from China, which is 69% more than a year ago. One of the latest, noticeable export markets for the Tesla Giga Shanghai plant is Canada. Models. Tesla produces in Shanghai 2 MiC models, Model 3 and Model Y, both in various versions. In May, the Tesla Model 3 wholesale retail sales in China plus export amounted to 27,215, while the Tesla Model Y amounted to 50,480. The local retail sales amounted to respectively 11,454, up 190% year-over-year, and 31,054, up 429% year-over-year. As we can see, the Tesla Model Y quite significantly outsells the Model 3. So far this year, Tesla sold in China over 67,000 Model 3, up 77% year-over-year, and over 152,000 Model Y, up 87% year-over-year. Source: reposted and summarized from Mark Kane at Inside EVS. Tesla could make up to $3 billion from opening up supercharger network. As you may have heard, Tesla is finally opening up its vast supercharger network to other automakers. Last month, Tesla CEO Elon Musk announced a deal with Ford that would give the Blue Oval's electric vehicles full access to the US and Canadian supercharger network. Just days after the partnership with Ford was announced, General Motors also got in on the act and agreed to a similar deal with Tesla. Hence, all Ford and GM electric vehicles in the US and Canada will be able to use Tesla superchargers from early 2024 onwards. Crucially, this means Tesla's North American charging standard NACS charging connector will now be used by other manufacturers. For GM and Ford's North American vehicles, the combined charging system CCS1 setup will have to be phased out. Current owners will make do with adapters, but future purchasers will get the NACS charging inlet as standard. For Tesla, the main incentive for opening up its network is of course financial gain. But how much will Tesla actually make from letting other manufacturers use its chargers? While exact revenue projections have been kept under wraps, analysts at Piper Sandler believe Tesla could make a hefty $3 billion by 2030. Total charging revenue from non-Tesla owners will rise to approximately $5.4 billion by 2032, per the Piper Sandler report. Source: reposted and summarized from Ben O'Hare at Inside EVs. Tesla superchargers with CCS connectors in U.S. eligible for public funds. Tesla superchargers in the U.S. equipped with CCS connectors will be eligible for federal subsidies. The White House has confirmed. This means the manufacturer will receive billions of dollars for maintaining the charging network for all owners of electric vehicles. The White House said Friday that Tesla superchargers would be eligible for billions of dollars in federal subsidies if they include the standard U.S. CCS charging connection. Some superchargers of the company already have magic docks that provide this, and Tesla's efforts in this direction will continue to grow. The announcement comes after announcements by Ford Motor and General Motors that they are adopting Tesla's charging design, known as the North American Charging Standard (NACS). This is the first time the Biden administration has directly mentioned Tesla as part of an effort to provide up to $7.5 billion to build new high-speed chargers on U.S. highways. This indicates the recognition that Tesla's role in the development of the U.S. charging infrastructure is indispensable. While Tesla's stock price continues to rise, thanks to this news, shares of electric vehicle charging firms such as ChargePoint, EVgo, and Blink Charging have fallen by 11% to 13%, according to Reuters. Some of them said on Friday that they will work on adapting to the Tesla standard. Earlier this year, we developed minimum standards to ensure publicly funded EV charging is accessible, reliable, and affordable for all drivers. And we required interoperability to promote competition. White House spokesperson Robin Patterson said in a statement to Reuters. Those standards give flexibility for adding both CCS and NACS, as long as drivers can count on a minimum of CCS. Patterson said the goal is for every car to be able to use every publicly funded charger. More drivers having access to more high-quality charging, including Tesla superchargers, is a step forward. Whether other charge point systems disappear in the same way that Betamax videotapes disappeared in the 1980s is likely to depend on policymakers, said Danny Hewson, head of financial analysis at A.J. Bell. But at the moment, Tesla is way ahead of the pack and the gap is widening. Source: reposted and summarized from Eva Fox at Tasmanian. Who will be next to use Tesla NACS charging? Ford and General Motors recently signed up for Tesla's North American Charging Standard (NACS) charging connector, which triggered an avalanche, because those three manufacturers control around 3/4 of the entire battery electric vehicle BEV segment in the United States. Q1 2023 registrations. The question is, what will happen next? The combined charging system CCS1 charging connector is not expected to survive the battle with Tesla's NACS. After the Ford and GM switch, the Charging Interface Initiative (CHAR-IN) Association, which promotes CCS, is probably aware that North America might be a lost cause for CCS after a transition period of at least 5 to 10 years. The association criticized Ford's move and probably will repeat its statement in the case of the GM. Nonetheless, we must look into the future and ask who might be next to officially confirm the switch from CCS1 to NACS in North America. As of today, we have confirmed Tesla natively, NACS to be opened for the EV industry, Ford and Lincoln brands. From 2025 adapters for CCS1 compatible EVs from 2024. General Motors, Cadillac, Chevrolet, GMC. From 2025 adapters for CCS1 compatible EVs from 2024. Aptera startup. Intends to use NACS once will start production. Tesla. North American charging standard versus CCS Combo 1. Tesla. North American charging standard. There are two main types of all-electric vehicle manufacturers: startups like Rivian and Lucid, and established brands, large OEMs. The decision loop for startups is usually much shorter, and they don't have too many legacy models to worry about. This indicates that at least theoretically, they might decide quickly, as long as this move is considered the right thing to do. In the case of the large OEMs, things are more complex because some of them, like the European manufacturers, are heavily engaged in the popularization of the CCS standards around the world. The Volkswagen Group also invested in the Electrify America network, which is entirely focused on the CCS, excluding the legacy CHAdeMO units. The Japanese manufacturers were usually reluctant toward BEVs besides Nissan, which fought its own battle for CHAdeMO before moving to CSS. So they will probably simply join the winning party. The same concerns Stellantis. The South Korean Hyundai Motor Group is committed to electrification, currently using CCS, but very likely will follow NACS if this becomes the mainstream solution in North America. By the way, South Korea might also entirely switch from CCS1 to NACS as well. We are pretty sure that a red alert was announced at the OEM headquarters, at least in divisions responsible for EV charging. This is now a crucial decision: which charging connector to use in the next generation models. In 1, 2, or 3 years from now, the decision of charging inlet integration, as well as software development for access to Tesla supercharging, must be made in advance. We guess that from the marketing point of view, some OEMs might be willing to announce the switch to NACS as soon as possible. Others will be reluctant, potentially the German automotive industry. We could bet that Rivian, Stellantis, and Hyundai Motor Group might be next. Rivian recently added open Tesla supercharging locations to its navigation system, which means that the company is interested in access to the network. Tesla enthusiasts seem to be pointing at Volkswagen as the biggest loser if CCS1 is dropped in favor of NACS in North America. An interesting thing is that within a few days, we heard about several manufacturers of charging equipment that intend to add the NACS plug option to their chargers. That's not surprising, because fast charging networks must secure native compatibility with the most popular electric cars on the market, and it would be hard to ignore Tesla, Ford, and GM combined. Source: reposted and summarized from Mark Kane at Inside EVS.